So once you factor in all these details, I think it's pretty obvious what's going on here. I think it's pretty clear how this situation unfolded. Burglar, caught in the act, flees the scene, gets apprehended, charges the, citizens attempting to arrest him, and gets shot. That's Trayvon Martin, that's Michael Brown, and that is this Ahmaud Arbery. And honestly, I don't know how anybody could see it any other way, but yet they try to spit it into hunted, cold-blooded murder. It's amazing to me that all of these young, innocent, honor roll black kids that are being killed just happen to all the time be criminals, gang members, violent. Doesn't that seem like a big coincidence? Because the black people that are being hunted are never like college graduates. They're never wealthy. They're never, driving in their Cadillac Escalade with their wife and kids. That never actually seems to be the profile. Just serendipitously, out of pure chance, they all seem to be adolescent men with prior convictions who are violent, right? Even his mother says, and in every report it says this, that he was involved in burglaries in the past. Well, he was involved in other burglaries. He does have prior convictions, but this time, but he wasn't responsible for those burglaries, or burglary in this case. Oh, really? I saw some reports that said that he was 12 miles from his house. And I didn't get any confirmation on that, but I did see that floating around, that this neighborhood that he was in was 12 miles from where he lives. So yeah, you've got this 25-year-old convict, former convict, black jogger, jogging 12 miles from his house in this neighborhood where there happen to be 911 calls about a burglar, in a neighborhood where there had been burglaries for weeks. He gets asked to stop, and he charges the, citizens that are arresting him. I'm sure that he was just, panicked. There's just an unarmed, innocent guy just trying to get his jog on, right? Like LeBron says, we step foot outside our homes. We can't even go for a damn jog. That's right, can't even go for a damn jog. Can't even look in people's damn windows or be inside homes under construction. Can't even carry a damn illegal firearm. Can't even rob a damn store. Try to take a cop's damn gun without getting shot. This country sucks. This country is so unfair. White people literally can't cut black people any slack at all. For crying out loud. It's such a joke. And you see this time and again. And honestly, this is just more evidence about the racialization of the country. This is not about politics. This is about race, yet again. Why is LeBron James looking at it this way? It's because the guy's a brother. Because LeBron's a brother and Arbery's a brother. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that was the same way, by the way, with... who was the names escape me right now? Come on. Why am I not able to remember this name? The glove. Who am I thinking of? O.J. Simpson, right? It was the same with O.J. Simpson. If you look at any polling that went down racial lines on who thought O.J. Simpson was innocent, of course, who do you think it was that thought he was innocent? The brothers. And it's the same with Trayvon, and it's the same with Michael Brown, and it's the same with Arbery. I don't think they really care about the facts or anything like that. It's because that's their brother. So none of the rest matters. It's about a white man killing a black person, and whose side do they take? Don't wait for the facts. We don't care about the facts. We're going to take the side of the brother, of our brother, right? Our racial compatriot. That's what it is. And I look at the facts. I'm willing to believe. I'm willing to look at these things impartially. I'm willing to look at this killing. And I did. I'm willing to look at this killing and say, well, what happened? Let's ascertain the facts. Who was in the wrong? Was it the black guy who got shot or the white guys that shot him? Let's investigate. Let's find out the facts. And based on the facts, we can evaluate, was he committing a crime? Was there a reasonable suspicion that he was committing a crime, or was there not? Were they legally within their rights to open carry, or were they not? And who struck who first? I'm willing to investigate the facts. and I investigated the facts, and clearly we can see what was going on there. And the same was true with Michael Brown, and the same was true with Trayvon Martin. You know, Michael Brown grabbed the cop's gun, right? And then he got shot. But that didn't matter because they don't even care about the facts. They just know that it was someone from outside shot someone from inside. And you always look out for the people on the inside. And again, what does that say about our country? How can we say that this is a whole, that this is a coherent whole, that we're on the same team, that we're on the same page? Clearly, we're not. Obviously, we're not. Because they still see us as outsiders, as them, as white folk. And we as white people, we can contort ourselves in every way and bend over backwards and look, we're all American, and hey brother, you're just as American as me, and yeah man, I like rap music too, and I love Michael Jordan, and we could do that all we want. It's not reciprocated. It's not reciprocated. And that doesn't mean we hate them. I don't know if they hate us, but it just means that clearly there is a disconnect. Clearly, there is still distinction. There is still a divide. Will that ever heal? Can't heal. I don't think there was ever not a divide. Some people say we need to heal the racial divide. Was there ever not a racial divide in this country? Tell me the time in human history when there was not a racial divide. In our country or in the history of any other country. Because in our country, I actually can't think of a time when we need to heal the divide. Heal? You mean we need to create unity for the first time ever? Can that be done? Has that ever been done? And what are the prospects for that being done now? Particularly in light of the demographic changes occurring. Because I'm frankly not optimistic that that's ever going to happen. And if it does, both parties have to consent. And it seems like one party really, really, really wants it, and the other one wants nothing to do with that. Am I wrong? Because this is what I've seen in my life, and I think this is what you'll find if you go back throughout the entire history of the discourse or interchange between our two races, and all races for that matter. Right? Even take a look at Hispanics. Who predated the Hispanics? It was the indigenous. Need I say any more? What is the history of the racial groups on this continent other than conflict? Right? Blacks brought here as slaves, and then Jim Crow, and now this shit. Right? And now it's, cops keep killing us for stealing, right? Cops keep killing my brothers because they're committing crimes. And then how about Hispanics? Well, first they were the natives, and they were scalping us, and we were killing them, and, conflict with the natives, and then it was the Mexican-American War, and now we have this current stuff where they raise the Mexican flag, and it's fuck Trump, and, right, pendejo Trump, speak English, dummy, Okay, so then that is the state of our country. And I don't understand how this is lost on people. This idea that we're all just gonna put aside our differences, hold hands, and come together as a nation. This is a white fantasy. This is the white wet dream. But this is not something that is even desirable for any other group. It's not like they're trying and failing. They're not even trying. They don't even want it. Does it seem like that's the case? When you see, and this is already happening now, you've got mobs of blacks from surrounding neighborhoods now going to the houses of the white people that killed this guy, yelling, "No justice, no peace." Do they they see themselves as part of America? They clearly don't. LeBron James doesn't even. LeBron James really believes that he's going to be hunted. Really? LeBron James is going to be hunted in America simply because he's black. Does he even believe that? Does anybody believe that? But in his mind, in his perception, he is still not part of the fabric of this country. He is still otherized himself and otherized, quote unquote, white America. And frankly, white America's America, right? White America's the traditional American nation. And they don't see themselves as part of it. And I don't think they want to be a part of it, honestly. They're alienated from it. They've only become more alienated from it. And think about the history. And by the way, the relationship between blacks and whites is only one example. There are obviously many races in this country. This is one example. And it's what is that meant to demonstrate? It's meant to demonstrate race relations in this country. And think about that as a case study. Blacks gained all their civil rights in the 1960s, right? They achieved full legal equality with whites in the 1960s. Has the racial divide gotten better or worse since then? Because what we're led to believe all the time is that, well, what can heal the racial divide is, this equality and consciousness and knowledge about past wrongdoing, whatever liberals and like mainstream conservatives, whatever bullshit they tell us. We just need to be more conscious about past wrongdoing, or we need to be more racially woke and whatever. There needs to be economic justice. Well, that's weird, because the more the situation has become equal, and the more affirmative action and the more programs and the more understanding and the more sensitivity and the more political correctness, actually the more militant they've become and the more divided it's become, right? And the more they've embraced their African roots. African roots, you've never been to Africa, but yet you see all these people, talking about, even Kanye West is going to Africa, right? And you see black Congress people during the State of the Union donning traditional African garb. Kwanzaa was created in the 1960s to stress the African roots of American blacks. Really? So it's like it was getting more divided as we have equalized the society, as we've gone from a ranked to an equal society. And what does that tell you about the prospect for there to be unity, or maybe not even unity, but even just harmony, even just cooperation or peace for that matter in the future? This is supposed to be the future where everyone's getting along and it's multiracial and none of that matters. So, and then again, it's not all black people. You understand, we're talking about groups. I know some people still don't understand this, but we're talking about groups. There are obviously white liberals that support this stuff, and there are black conservatives that understand what I'm saying. They're black America firsters. So, I still have to say this because you still have, dummies who did not live through, I guess, like Gamergate or whatever. They didn't live through the first wave of dissident conservatism where they learned not all X are like that, right? But, understand we're talking about generalities. We're talking about groups. Can some people integrate? Are some people integrated? Certainly, but they are on the periphery. The core of culture and the core of these populations are as I've described. We're talking about majorities, or even not majorities, pluralities of people. We're talking about lots and lots of people that are feeling this way. And that's what a country is comprised of, is not individuals that are the exceptions, but the pluralities and the generalities and the majorities. So, I see a case like this and it's like, yeah, Trayvon Martin 2, 3. I've lost count at this point, right? Michael Brown 2, whatever you want to say. It's deja vu all over again. But to me, the bigger picture is, well, why are blacks, why do they feel this way about incidents like this? Why is it that whenever a black guy gets killed by a white cop, whether it's justified or unjustified, a city explodes and people are on edge and there's calls for reconciliation and more apologies? Why? Clearly it's because this population they do not feel at home. They do not feel related to us. They do not feel kinship with us. It just highlights that, and everyone uses that word heal. It highlights this racial divide that has been there forever. And let's think about that. Should our task be to create unity where there has never been unity and where we're moving further away from it all the time? Or should it be to live with the divide? That's what we're saying. Some say, oh, well, you just don't like them or you hate them. You're a racist. You want to kick them out. No, we're just saying, is it more likely that we are going to bring these two sides together when that's never been done, heal the divide, create a unity that's never existed, or that we can acknowledge the divide, recognize the divide, realize that this is the result of tribalism, which is immutable and ineradicable, right? People think, oh, well, we could just get over it. Maybe actually you can't. What if you can't? What if people cannot get over their tribalism on their side or our side? Microaggressions and all that, subtly, consciously. Maybe we can't move past that. What if that's the case? Well, then we're going to acknowledge the divide. We are going to respect the divide, and we'll make accommodations for the divide so that even if we are living in the same country, we can do so in a way that this divide can be peaceful and harmonious and cooperative in certain ways, and we can manage the divide. But that's the difference, is we want to manage the divide and they want to ignore the divide. They want to paint over the divide. And that doesn't work. We've been trying that for 60 years at least, but even much longer than that. Trying to paint over it, bandage it, pretend it doesn't exist, and that just tends to exacerbate it and make it worse. So let's just acknowledge what we're working with here. We can do that. Look, respectfully, you're a black American, I'm a white American, you have a different culture than me. When we say we, we're talking about different things. When you say we, you've got the black community, right? And when I say we, I'm talking about America that is historically white. Let's acknowledge this divide. How can we work together? How can we work together cooperatively and with understanding, right? But not this idea of, well, you and me are the same. No, we're the same. And I'll do anything to make you feel like you're one of me. That's not working for either side. But if we could all, because look, this is the way the country's going to be. Maybe it's impossible to manage the divide. What do we do then, right? You either ignore, paper over it, you manage it. What if you can't even manage it? Divide. What if you cannot manage the divide? Why should we have a divide in a country? Why shouldn't we have maybe different countries? I don't know. I'm not suggesting some people, oh, that's your plan, that's your proposal. But I'm just speaking frankly, and we have to have the serious conversation about race in the country can no longer be what more can white people do, or what is your grievance? Please tell us. The conversation has to be, what are we going to do to move forward? Because we have been stagnating and moving backwards. So we have to have some tough questions and maybe a tough conversation about that. I don't have there's no winning solution. We have invited in so many nations into this country, and the country is totally dislocated and disjointed, and nobody's feeling good. White people are not feeling good. Black people are not feeling good. Nobody's feeling good. What's going to be the solution? That the country is getting more disjointed, more chaotic, right? More white noise, right? More chaos. How are we going to create a harmonious and cohesive country should be the question. How are we going to put Americans first and make a decision that's good for everybody? This current order is good for politicians and firm owners, and that's it. So that has to be the question when it comes to stuff like this. But that's the shooting. We'll probably hear more come out in the coming weeks. Maybe we'll see more criminal records and more police reports and, maybe CCTV footage. We'll see what happens, but that's that case. It just makes me think about the bigger picture, because clearly they are still thinking in their tribal ways. Just like we talked about yesterday and on Friday, and in all these different expressions, it's the expression of the same thing. It's race, folks. It's race. Now, not everything in this country can be explained by race, but race explains a lot. And some people think it explains nothing, but clearly this is not the case, as we've demonstrated with many different examples in many different areas. And this one is no different. Is it about law enforcement? No. No. People are not looking at this and disagreeing because they have a disagreement about law enforcement or principles. It's because one side sees it as a team sport. That's what it comes down to.